And folks, the meltdown is finally here. In 1 week, we've gone from tragedy to pure humiliation for the left. Now, first, some idiot thought that it was cute to vandalize Charlie Kirk's memorial, mocking his assassination on camera, only to end up fired, expelled, and just kicked out of their own home. And now it gets even Hollywood's late night kingpin, Jimmy Kimmel, just got pulled off the air indefinitely after his disgusting jokes about Charlie Kirk's death. Is anybody happy to see Jimmy Kimmel get canceled? Just if you are happy, type in Kimmel canceled down below. Now, you can't even make this stuff up, guys. We're literally watching in real time as radicals at every level, from a no-name campus vandal all the way up to millionaire TV hosts like Jimmy Kimmel, they're learning the same brutal lesson. Mock political assassinations and your life will collapse. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. This isn't just another cancellation. This is ABC canceling Jimmy Kimmel. This is America under President Donald Trump in 2025, where accountability finally has teeth. Now, networks are panicking, universities are expelling, and the left's favorite clowns, they're finally getting the boot, because what just happened to Jimmy Kimmel and that Kirk Memorial vandal, it is just the beginning of a cultural reckoning that is going to send shockwaves throughout Washington, throughout Hollywood, throughout academia, and the entire radical left. Hit the like button, subscribe. And so America is on fire with consequences. Under President Donald J. Trump, the tone of this country has completely shifted. So a week ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of thousands at Utah Valley University. This completely shocked the nation. It rattled communities, and it forced us to confront just how poisonous political violence has become in America. And so here's a key difference right now. Under President Trump's leadership, nobody's laughing this off anymore. In fact, actions have consequences. Finally. So whether you're a radical student vandalizing a memorial, or you're a late night TV host mocking a political assassination, well, I hate to break it to you, but the days of essentially shrugging this off as free speech, oh, those are gone. So we're now living through a reckoning where mocking death, mocking violence, mocking tragedy, it's no longer tolerated. Not in our schools, not in our workplaces, not on national TV. So this is the climate. This is the stage, and it's setting up the double disaster that you're about to see unfold, guys. One complete idiot on the ground and another idiot in Hollywood, both learning the same hard lesson.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Crime statistics? Not exactly like...
You need conservatives to be afraid of getting killed when they go to events so that they look to their leadership to turn down the temperature.
Okay. Congratulations. You have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University.
So now let's start with the ground level disaster. So outside of a courthouse, some self-righteous vandal thought it would be funny to desecrate Charlie Kirk's memorial. She mocked his death, sneered into the camera, and then said, now, infamous words, record all you want.
No, look at this shit. Check it out. Look at this shit. Record all you want.
Now, and record they did, guys. That footage, it went everywhere. I'm talking about America watched in horror as she ripped apart a memorial to a man who has just been assassinated.
Oh my God. Everybody has to not because of my name is
Howdy.
Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. He got shot in the head. Fuck your homie dead. Yeah, fuck your homie dead.
Evil is real, people, and it kind of looks like that. Evil. Evil. Murder is bad. She is evil. Have not said. Why are you being so hateful?
Why are you so hateful? Why are you so hateful? Why are you so hateful? Yeah.
Hey, can somebody tell her to back up?
Can you
please?
not put
She's
the camera in my face?
I'm sitting here. You walked up to me.
Okay, well,
I don't want.
The internet erupted. Parents, students, neighbors, employers, nobody found it funny. And drop a fire down below if you're glad she got fired. Now, the fallout was swift. It was brutal. First, fired from her job. The restaurant where she worked didn't want anything to do with a person who just celebrated an assassination. Then expelled from Texas State University after President Dr. Kelly actually said that this particular behavior was abhorrent and completely crossed the line into promoting political terrorism. And if that wasn't enough humiliation, her own housing arrangement, her so-called polycold, completely kicked her little butt out of there. Now she went from mocking Kirk to begging for money online in just a matter of days. This wasn't cancel culture, guys. This was the community saying, no, not here, not anymore. And the punishment, I think it fit the crime. What do you guys think? When your grandkids look back, what do you want them to remember? A grandparent stressed out about Medicare bills, or one free to enjoy life with them? Now, this is why I partner with Chapter, folks. They protect your Medicare coverage so that you can protect your family time. One viewer said, thanks to Chapter, my Medicare plan finally feels like it's helping me, not stressing me out. So let me ask, what promise do you want to keep with your grandkids? All right. Now, most people, they're already calling the phone number down below at the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. The phone number is 909-563-8279. Here's what's more important. The country wasn't divided on this one. In fact, the reaction was nearly universal. Americans across the board rejected it. The only people that were cheering that vandal were a microscopic extremist fringe, the kind of people who kind of live in the echo chambers and think that mocking assassinations makes them brave. But real Americans, they were completely disgusted. Outrage poured in because people realized and they recognized the hypocrisy immediately. Now, for years, the leftist screen canceled them, right? Over the smallest disagreement. Parents at school board meetings, Nick Sandman standing silently in a red hat, or anyone who basically dared question the lockdowns or vaccine mandates. But now, all of a sudden, the same people who demanded that you lose your job, your bank account, even your reputation for disagreeing with them, they're now crying about free speech after vandalizing a memorial. Give me a break. The truth is very simple, guys. Mocking assassination, it's not political speech. It's not cultural. This is nothing short of cultural rot, guys. So America, we're completely done giving free passes to people who just hide behind the First Amendment whenever the mob turns on them.
Off the air indefinitely. This follows a controversy over comments the late-night comedian made Monday night about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer and the MAGA movement and their reaction to the assassination. Let's get straight to CNN's chief media affairs correspondent, Brian Stelter. Brian, what is going on?
That's right. This is fast developing this afternoon, Jake, amid pressure from the Trump-aligned FCC. And in the past few minutes, ABC confirmed to CNN the Kimmel show will be off the air, quote, indefinitely. We have not yet heard from Kimmel or his representatives. That's how quickly this has been developing. But let's back up and look at what Kimmel actually said on the program that has caused controversy. This is from Monday night in his Monday evening monologue. Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said, quote, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. He said in between the finger pointing, there was grieving. Kimmel was expressing what we've heard some other
Wow, unbelievable. And so that brings us to the big one, guys, because this sickness, it didn't stop with just some college radical. It actually climbed all the way up the ladder to Hollywood's late night elite, Jimmy Kimmel. This is the man with millions of viewers. The man, handed a national microphone, stood on stage, and mocked the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He thought that he could just turn the death of a conservative activist into a late-night punchline. But here's the thing, guys. Kimmel's arrogance is the very same disease as the student vandal, okay? The only difference is scale. Now, one destroyed a memorial in front of the courthouse. The other one destroyed what little credibility late night comedy still had on national TV. Now, America, we saw it for what it was. The outrage wasn't fringe. It wasn't political nitpicking. This was disbelief that a Hollywood millionaire thought mocking assassination was entertainment. Kimmel's smugness wasn't just insensitive, it was completely radioactive, and it set off a chain reaction that would ultimately humiliate him on a national scale.
When you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. As you've indicated, there are avenues here for the FCC. So there are some ways in which I need to be a little bit careful, because we could be called ultimately to be a judge on some of these claims that come up. But I don't think this is an isolated incident. I mean, you go back to Representative Swalwell, and he had a tweet out last week where he was saying that, emphasizing that Charlie Kirk's killer was a straight white male from a Republican family that voted for Donald Trump. In some quarters, there's a very concerted effort to try to lie to the American people about the nature, as you indicate, of one of the most significant, newsworthy public interest acts that we've seen in a long time.
And then boom, the hammer dropped. This wasn't just some angry tweets or a couple of op-eds. This was networks and regulators stepping in. So first, Nexstar Media Group, one of the biggest broadcasting giants in America, stepped up and they said enough is enough. Their affiliates announced that they would no longer air Jimmy Kimmel live indefinitely. Their president, Andrew Alford, called Jimmy Kimmel's comments offensive, insensitive at a critical time in our nation's political discourse. Then the pressure piled on. FCC Chair Brendan Carr urged broadcasters to stop airing Jimmy Kimmel altogether. Now, this wasn't fringe outrage. This was federal level pushback. By the end of the day, ABC caved. They pulled the plug on Jimmy Kimmel's late night show indefinitely. Now, just think about that. One of the biggest, longest running late night platforms in America shut down cold 1 week to the day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Guys, the timing tells you everything. This wasn't some half-hearted slap on the wrist. This was broadcasters and regulators drawing a red line and saying, mock political assassinations? Oh, you're done.
When you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, but somehow a MAGA or Republican motivated person, if that's what happened here with his conduct, that is really, really sick. And I've been very clear from the moment that I have become chairman of the FCC, I want to reinvigorate the public interest. And what people don't understand is that the broadcasters, and you've gotten this right, are entirely different than people that use other forms of communication. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Now, let's talk fallout, because this is where the humiliation really sets in. Now, for years, Jimmy Kimmel strutted on stage as the smug face of Hollywood late night. He mocked conservatives, Trump supporters, everyday Americans, and he thought that there would never be a price to pay. But this time, guys, the backlash swallowed him whole. Jimmy Kimmel isn't just suspended, he's disgraced. The audience trust is completely shattered. His reputation as the funny man turned into the punchline. And so let's be completely clear. This isn't cancel culture. Nobody dug up an old tweet. Nobody fabricated outrage. This was accountability in real time. He mocked the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man who just was laid to rest, and the public said no more of this nonsense. Now, what makes it sting a little bit more is that local communities completely rejected him. National broadcasters rejected him. Even advertisers are running from the stink. Jimmy Kimmel, he thought he was untouchable and that Hollywood bubble was going to protect him, but not anymore. Not under President Trump's America. Jimmy Kimmel, he went from late night king to late night pariah in less than 7 days flat. So that's not just a downfall, folks. That is a complete collapse. Drop a comment down below if you think that The View should be canceled next. Let me know what you guys think on that one. So now let's step back and let's look at the bigger picture. What do we have here? Like, on the one hand, you got a radical student vandalizing Charlie Kirk's memorial, bragging, record all you want, only to end up fired, expelled, and evicted. But on the other hand, you got Jimmy Kimmel, a millionaire Hollywood host, mocking Jimmy Kimmel's death on national TV, only to end up suspended, humiliated, and yanked off the air. Different worlds, same disease, same consequences. This is the perfect snapshot of President Trump's America in 2025. So whether you're some anonymous activist on a college campus or a celebrity with a cushy contract, if you celebrate assassination or mock tragedy, your life gets turned upside down. So here's the situation, guys. The public is done giving these people cover. The ground level radicals and the Hollywood elites, they thought that they could just sneer their way through this. But they underestimated the national mood. They underestimated the pendulum swing. Idiots at every level, guys, from courthouse vandals to network TV stars, they're all facing the same fate. Total collapse. And of course, you knew it was coming. The cries of free speech, the student vandals screaming that, it was after losing their job and school spot. Jimmy Kimmel's defenders screamed that after he lost his show. But here's the real reality check, okay? The reality check is this. The First Amendment protects you from government arrest, not from the consequences of the real world. Now, when you desecrate a memorial or just openly mock an assassination, come on, guys. You're not a free speech hero. You're a walking liability. Employers don't want to be tied to people like that. They don't want to be tied to people like you who are doing these types of awful things. Networks don't want your stink on their brand. That's not censorship. That's just common sense. And the hypocrisy, oh my God, it's just off the chain. These are the same people who canceled Americans for wearing the wrong hat, posting the wrong meme, or questioning school libraries. They cheered when conservatives lost their jobs, bank accounts, and platforms. But when the same rules boomerang and hit them back, well, all of a sudden they're clutching their constitution like it's the shield. No, not anymore. The cultural game that they invented, it has referees, and the scoreboard is not in their favor. So now here's where it gets even bigger, because what we're seeing right now isn't just about one student or, some late night host. It's about the cultural shift that's happening in Trump's America in 2025. Now, under Biden, elites, they ran wild. They did whatever they wanted to do. Students could vandalize, Hollywood would sneer, networks would mock, and nobody dared push back. But under Trump, the script has completely flipped. Schools are expelling, employers are firing, networks are suspending, even regulators are calling shots. Americans are standing up and they're saying, look, we are not going to tolerate celebration of political violence. Not from kids, not kids with spray paint, not from millionaires with microphones. The cultural pendulum is swinging back hard. And for the first time in years, accountability finally has some teeth. So this is what terrifies the left. Not just losing jobs or airtime, but losing the impunity that they've enjoyed for so long. This is just the beginning of a huge purge of Hollywood arrogance, campus extremism, and the media hypocrisy. So here we are, guys. Two stories, same outcome. The vandal who desecrated Charlie Kirk's memorial, fired, expelled, homeless. The Hollywood clown who mocked Charlie Kirk's assassination, suspended, humiliated, off the air. This is not cancel culture. This is the cultural reckoning, guys. This is what happens when America finally draws a line in the sand and says, hey, mock tragedy, promote violence, oh, you're going to pay the price. Trump's America has made one thing crystal clear. Whether you're a campus radical or a Hollywood elite, if you cross the line, your world collapses. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that is justice. Not the kind that's handed down by mobs or Twitter trends, but the justice of a country finally fed up with lies, arrogance, and double standards. The reckoning is here, and trust me, it's only just getting started.